I was never the possessive type. Never had any cause to be. When you marry a woman like Lena, someone who looks at you as if you're the only man in the world, suspicion never crosses your mind. You just feel blessed, fortunate. We had been married for 18 years. I met her at 23, right after she graduated with a degree in literature and hopes of becoming an author. I was 28, running a small construction crew. I wasn't stylish, no expensive suits or corporate offices, but I was dependable. I wanted stability, a real life, a family. She said she wanted the same. We began with little, a tiny apartment, used furniture, cheap Friday night pizza. She stood by me through the long hours, the paperwork, the heavy weight of running a business. She sorted receipts, calmed me down when the stress grew unbearable. When we finally saved enough to buy a fixer-upper, it felt like a triumph. She picked the tiles. I installed them. She painted, built. That house became our joint creation, every inch touched by our hands. I believed we were building a future together. Brick by brick, dream by dream. But just because you build something side by side doesn't mean they won't burn it down. The warning signs arrived quietly. Lena had always been grounded, thoughtful, gentle. Then she started drifting, smiling at her phone in ways that didn't feel innocent, taking long showers with her phone close by, wearing perfume even when she never left home. I asked if something was wrong, if she was hiding anything. She smiled faintly and said, "No, babe. Just lost in thought. You know how I get." And yes, Lena could be dreamy, far away in her head. So I convinced myself it was nothing. Still, unease wouldn't leave me. One night, I was working late in the garage. She thought I was gone. Through the window, I saw the kitchen light turn on near midnight. She walked in, phone pressed to her ear, laughing. Really laughing, the kind I hadn't heard in years. That laugh wasn't for me. It was lighter, freer, like she became someone else for whoever was on the line. She leaned on the counter, twirled her hair, whispered, "You're bad," and bit her lip. That tiny gesture told me everything. She had never done that with me, not even when we first met. Something shifted inside me then. Not anger, but something colder, sharper. I didn't want a fight. I wanted truth. The next morning I acted normal. Kissed her forehead, told her I'd be working late. Instead, I went to the hardware store and bought a set of small motion-activated cameras. Easy to hide, easy to sync. That night, I mentioned installing them for security. Said the neighborhood had break-ins. She nodded, barely listening, her eyes locked on her phone. Over the next days I set 2 inside. One in the living room, another aimed at the front door. Synced them to a private cloud. Then I waited. Didn't check daily, just gave it time. The first week, nothing. The second, a man's faint voice on the audio. Lena paced barefoot with a glass of wine, looking anxious, then smiling. Smiling in a way I hadn't seen in years. That told me I was getting close. By week 3 I had my answer. It was Thursday. She thought I was out on a job all day. 2 p.m. he arrived. Mid-30s, tall, lean, dressed casual, hoodie and joggers. He walked in like he belonged. She kissed him at the door. Not awkward, not hesitant. A kiss full of history. He carried takeout. I heard her say, "You remembered?" He replied, "I always do." Then they curled up on my couch, feeding each other like teenagers. That was the moment my love for her ended. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just watched, hands clenched, heart hollow. I saved the video. Then I started digging. His name was Tyler. He owned a yoga studio in town called Soulflow. Drove a hybrid, lived on oat milk, posted videos about energy and alignment. I wanted to hate him, but what I felt was worse. I felt mocked. This wasn't an upgrade. He wasn't a better man. He was a soft-talking instructor hiding behind spiritual buzzwords. He hadn't stolen my wife, she handed herself to him. And for that, both of them needed to face consequences. The first step was money. Quietly, I opened a separate account, redirected my paycheck, and moved nearly 40 grand I had tucked away. She had no clue. I left enough in our joint account to keep everything looking normal. Then I turned my attention to Tyler. I built a false identity. Nick Bryant, a so-called entrepreneur planning to launch a chain of high-end wellness centers. I reached out through a burner profile, praised his content, and claimed I wanted to discuss a partnership for branding. His ego swallowed the bait instantly. We set up a meeting at a luxury condo I rented for the weekend under my real name. Marble counters, floor-to-ceiling windows, skyline shining. I told Lena I had a last-minute business deal. She barely glanced at me when I left. Tyler showed up sharp at 11 a.m. Saturday. Confident grin, hair tied back, black fitted shirt that screamed effort disguised as casual. I handed him an espresso. We chatted. He said my energy felt grounded. I smiled and said, "There's someone you should meet." I opened the bedroom door. Lena stepped out expecting Nick. I told her it was a surprise. Some couple's wellness event. She thought she was slipping away again, but the only surprise was mine. When she saw him standing there, she froze. Her face drained, eyes wide. Tyler's smile collapsed into panic. "You remember Lena, don't you?" I said evenly. She whispered my name like it might soften the blow. I gestured toward the couch. "Sit down." They didn't move, so I hit play. On the screen, them kissing, laughing, tangled on my couch, her moaning his name, the dog wandering by in the background. Tyler went pale. Lena sank into a chair. "You recorded us?" she asked, barely audible. "No," I replied. "You recorded yourselves. Forgot your phone was syncing with the cloud." Her hands covered her face. Tyler looked like he might argue. I lifted my hand. "Don't. I've read the texts. You knew. Both of you knew. You joked about me, about how easy I was to fool. About how she had me wrapped." He stayed silent after that. Then I laid down the last card. "Your sponsors. They got a copy too. Along with screenshots of you bragging about seducing married women. You might want to check your inbox." His face drained completely. He muttered something and headed for the door. But my friend, a retired MMA fighter, was waiting in the hall just in case. Tyler backed off quick. Lena sobbed. Said she didn't know why. Said she was confused. Said she still loved me. I studied her then and felt nothing but fatigue. I'd already filed the papers. "You'll be served Monday. Keep the house. I'll move out. The dog stays with me. Don't fight it. I've got the vet bills and your text saying you couldn't handle the shedding." She reached for me. I stepped back. That was the last time we stood face to face. I moved into a small loft and rebuilt quietly. Cut her off. Blocked her calls, erased the photos, spent time with real friends who actually cared. I never looked back. 2 months later, Tyler's yoga studio collapsed under scandal. Accusations of him exploiting clients. I had nothing to do with it. Karma had simply clocked in. Lena tried to reach out afterward. Different numbers, voicemails telling me she missed how I made her feel safe. But here's the truth. Some people don't want safety. They crave chaos. They chase secrets, not stability. And when you hand them your heart, they don't see love. They see weakness. I'm not weak anymore. I rebuilt my peace from the ground up. And I'll never again let the people who broke it anywhere near my life.